Well, hey, everybody, welcome back to this week's episode of Surviving Life's Pickles. I'm Scott Martin, your host, today, joined with my lovely wife, Hillary,
Hello, everybody.
and Alicia Butler.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I am doing great now that I'm here, just sitting
Yeah.
and ready to go.
Get to relax for a minute.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming down today. And everybody, thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Like we have recently been doing, we just want to make sure that everybody tuning in knows how much we are grateful for you, because we cannot continue to do this every single week without the support of our pickle posse and all of the community and everybody who has jumped on board to listen to the stories and the information and things that our guests are bringing on. And hopefully we're helping everybody navigate those life's challenges a little bit better together with the information, and we're surviving each one of those small, medium, and large pickles every week. So thank you again for taking the time. If you guys have listened to our episodes before, or if you haven't, you know that we'll start off all our episodes with gratitude, and then we'll get into our guest and the topic that we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to go ahead and start us off today,
Okay.
and then we'll just go around the circle.
All right. What are you grateful for, Scott?
Well, so recently I just talked about we went to a concert with one of our favorite artists again. And his music has just been so instrumental again and again over the last couple of years with just everything we've been doing. It just overwhelms me if I'm struggling. There's certain songs I can go to and just really just kind of center myself back in. And recently at the concert, again, there was another song that had popped up that hasn't been one of those like go to all the time. But at this concert, this song popped up, and it really made me grateful for myself.
Okay.
And it gave me the gratitude of the journey that I had been on over these last few years. And I just wanted to read just the chorus to this song really quick because it just hits home. And I want you to take the chorus as I'm reading it, as I envision this song is me talking to myself,
Okay.
is how I do this. And I really am. Today, I am really just grateful for me. I'm grateful for the struggles and everything I've been in. And this song just really did it. And so the artist's name is Elderbrook. And the chorus goes, "There is something about you keeping me sober. I was drowning in the moment, but now I'm holding on to you. There's something about you keeping me sober. I was drowning in the moment, but now I'm holding on to you. I miss the company we had back when I was still on track. Now I'm making my own paradise, but now the drink is tasting strange and the high isn't the same. Well, I'm still wrong and I apologize." That really hit home to me when we were there of I am the one that is keeping myself sober. And if it wasn't for the constant daily grind, the constant daily affirmations, the gratitude and everything, can't give anybody else credit for that.
Yeah.
And I really hadn't realized that until I sat and listened to that song.
Well, you've done the work and you've put in the effort. And once you're sober day to day, that's what it takes. You have to put in the work, and you've done that.
Yeah. And so it is really, it is just that. I'm so grateful. And so if anybody wants to listen to that whole song, it's again, the artist is Edelbrook, and the song is Something About You. So that's my gratitude today. I'm grateful for me.
Yeah. Scott has a really bad habit. He always he mixes the words. It calls him Edelbrook, but it's Elderbrook. Yeah. So I love that, and I'm grateful for you, babe.
Thanks.
But that's not my gratitude
Yeah.
today. So, Alicia.
Alicia. That's
Sorry.
I know it's spelled different.
Alicia.
And so my gratitude is going to be about my family. And we just went on a week-long trip to Cabo San Lucas. And it's the first time we've taken the kids. Dave and I have been there a few times. And it is one of my dad's favorite places in the entire world. They've traveled the world. My dad passed about 4.5 years ago, and it was incredible. It was really emotional though too, because it was just Father's Day, and a couple weeks before that it was his birthday, and then before that it was Mother's Day. And the last time my dad and I spent together um on Mother's Day was 5 years ago in Cabo.
Okay.
And so being able to take the kids, like there were so many emotions, with it. And leading up to it, I was a little bit afraid of going, oh my gosh, am I going to let the grief and sadness overwhelm, the moments of joy there? And it didn't. It was just the most magical trip that we've been on. Our kids were like, this is the best trip we've been to. They've been on a cruise, they've been to Disney, they've been to Universal, but we got to just slow down and be 100% present with each other.
Oh, that's
And it was magical. And it's been a little bit hard to come back to reality and get into the day-to-day of life and work and trying to balance all those things. But it really was just beautiful. We watched the sunset every night. We were on the golf course. We just were by the pool. We went to the beach, and just watched the waves and walked in the sand together. And it really just makes you stop and be grateful for the moments that you have, because really all any of us are promised is this moment right here,
right now.
right now. Yes. And so that is what I'm grateful for.
that's an amazing one. Can we go to Cabo?
You guys should.
I want to
It's
go.
beautiful.
That
Beautiful.
sounds amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're up. Yeah.
I'm up. Okay. So me and Scott, I talked about this in our therapy session that we did this last week, but I am very grateful that I have a summer with my boys. This is the first time that I haven't been working full time. I'm just kind of picking up shifts here and there. Took some time off just for myself to kind of figure out where I want to be and what I want to do and what do I want to be when I grow up, kind of thing. But it's been the best summer because I've actually had the opportunity to spend more time with my boys during the day and kind of hang out with them. Jackson, our youngest, he is in soccer camp this week. And so I was able to drop him off and kind of wish him well. And then we were able to go get him some new things for soccer camp. And it's just been fun to be able to spend that little extra time with them and get to know them a little better and just hang out with them. So
Yeah.
I'm just super grateful for that right now. Those little moments.
I love that. How old are your boys?
They're 12 and 13 right now.
Yeah.
So
They're at that age.
they're 12 and 13 and they look like they're 15 and 16 because they're so tall.
Mhm.
This poor kid, he's like the tallest kid at soccer camp. Everybody thinks he's like 15 or 16. I'm like, no, he's only 12.
Yeah. Well, and I know it's like so cliche, but it's like my boys played soccer, and I actually did growing up as well in high school and actually in college.
Okay.
But watching the kids play
Mhm.
and like being so busy running around, it's like when that's over, you really do miss it.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out that new relationship with the kids. And so I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like enjoy it, because you really, in the blink of an eye,
It's
we're on to the next stage of whatever adventures they're doing.
yeah. I wish I could have done this when they were younger,
But you get to now,
but I get to now.
like there's seasons.
Yeah. We're grateful for the time that we are able to do it and just have to live in that moment. So,
Mhm.
well, kind of bringing it full circle, you talked about your trip and just the connection and how wonderful it was. And that kind of rolls in a little bit. We're talking about our boys,
Mhm.
a little bit about why you're here, but we had a similar experience, just like you did a couple weeks ago, and that's why I'm really excited too, is because we've been really trying to spend more time with them,
Mm-hmm.
getting to know them, uh, just with them, because the girls are older, they're out of the house, and so it is just one-on-one time with them now. And we were able to take a trip, and kind of the same experience as you had. It was my grandpa's very favorite place. I grew up going camping here my entire childhood. Due to my addiction and just different family stuff, I hadn't been back since 2011.
Mm.
So we took them back, and I got to have that feeling. I got to walk around and say, that's where grandpa was always sitting. That's where they would do this. I got to look at the stars with them, and kind of that same experience of just experiencing them at this age was just magical,
Mhm.
And no cell service.
and absolutely
Yep.
no cell service. And so it was just one-on-one time. And that's part of the reason we're here to talk today is you have a nonprofit foundation
Mhm.
called Hope Hero,
Uh-huh.
and it is focused on teens.
Yes.
And so that really rolls into, let's talk about first what Hope Hero is
Mm-hmm.
and how
How
it
it-
started.
Yeah, how it came about.
How it started. And, there's always so many catalysts, that happen and shift as we've grown with the Hope Hero. But it starts with the story that I do know what it's like to have a child who doesn't want to live. And my little boy was 7 years old. And daily he'd say how much he hated himself, that the world would be better off without him. And I knew he was struggling, but I just didn't know how bad it was until the day he attempted right in front of me. And that changes you. That changes your perspective on parenting, on life. So he was 7. We had a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old at the time. And I was teaching junior high school, 9th grade English full time.
Mm.
And at the end of the year, I took time off to save my own child's life and get him the help that he needed with therapy and the medications, all of the things. And a lot of what has become with the foundation and when I went back into the classroom and taught my students is because of what I was able to teach him and see in his life. And so the first child's life and the most important to me was my own son. And that story has a great ending, and it's still going. He's now 21.
Wow.
And he was the kicker of his high school football team, as well as he went to live his dreams of being a kicker for 2 colleges from coast to coast. And he is still pursuing that dream of playing professionally. He's tried out this last year, and the coach has said, please come back next year because I have a spot for you. So we will see where that goes, but it can happen just because a child or even an adult has those feelings, those thoughts or attempts does not mean that that is where the story ends. Right? There's so much more to that. And so that really is the first catalyst, and we can stop and chat about that for a minute and then go back to other things that launched it forward, wherever you're feeling.
Well, I guess my question is before we dive into more of the catalyst in that, what is the basis? What is the focus with the foundation? What is the mission that you guys are trying to do?
The mission is to proactively prevent teen suicide by empowering youth to become the heroes of their own stories.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do that through books, different literature, and different stories. Like I know the one book has something for. Is it every week or every? It is every week. It's a calendar week. They get a different hero story, right?
Mhm. Yep. And everything is based around Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey. I don't know if you're familiar with him or not. He's written a book called The Hero with 1,000 Faces, where he studied heroes from the beginning of time from all cultures and societies and found that there is a pattern.
Mhm.
There is a pattern for rising above adversity, and it's seen through every culture And in Hollywood, in the movies, this is what they pattern every single movie, story, every book we read is actually patterned around some type of framework of Joseph Campbell's work on the hero's journey.
Okay.
And so I was an English teacher, right? And so hence, I taught mythology and English, and I also taught Romeo and Juliet, right? And so that kind of ties in with all of that and teaching kids. I mean, really since 2008, when I began teaching, is when I started teaching youth to identify themselves within the pattern of the hero's journey and know that there's a system. There's step 1, step 2, and if you're stuck in a pattern, it's because we just haven't learned the lesson yet.
Yeah.
Right? And nobody else can do it for you.
Yep.
And so really that's what everything is based on. And then from that, I've created the hero's compass because every hero on their journey needs some direction.
Right.
Right. And so the compass has 4 directions. And number 1 is connection with yourself and with others. The second is communication. And again, we could say with ourselves and with others. Third is building confidence. And then the 4th is taking courageous steps.
I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so simple, but so powerful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and if you can't explain something to I would say 6th grade level, then the adults aren't getting it either. It has to be explainable in a simplified version. It doesn't mean it's necessarily easy, but the steps are simple to understand.
Yeah.
Right?
That makes it a lot easier to digest for most people
Mhm.
when it's
Yeah.
like that. They don't have to overthink it. And I think that's wonderful how you're doing
Yep.
that.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So let's take it back though.
Okay.
Now we understand kind of how you're delivering these messages.
Mhm.
You stopped teaching so you could take the time off to work with your son and
Mhm.
help him with all his struggles he was going with. During that time, where did this inspiration come from that, hey, was it working with him where it came from, or was it a little bit farther down the road?
It's further down the road, but let me share some of the tools that we used to help our own child, because I feel like that is very important for all parents, whether your child is struggling or whether your child is just a normal child, right? Every kid and every parent should, honestly, this is what helped and what we still do to this day with our 21-year-old son. We implemented the 5 love languages of children. So it's Gary Chapman's work. Many are familiar with the 5 love languages, but he adapted that for children. And my child, his love language is physical touch.
Okay.
And a lot of boys, it is that way, but it doesn't mean they want hugs. Right? They want the high fives. They want, Mom, will you scratch my back? Mom, will you play with my hair? And so I remember, and this child at that time, and I don't share all these parts of this all the time, but it was very difficult for me to want to show more love to a child who did not want to be around me, who would slam doors. We had holes in the walls, who would run away from home, tell me he hated me. I remember, those little cars, suitcases, he'd pack that up and would head out the door, and it was a very hard time. And I had a 1-year-old, I had postpartum. I mean, there were a lot of things happening simultaneously. And so when he wanted to push me away the most, that is when I had to go, I am the parent, I am the mom, and this child's actions and reactions are because he's not feeling the love that I have for him. And so loving him in the way in which he feels it. And Gary Chapman calls that, the love tank, right? Just like a gasoline tank,
Fill it up.
you've got to fill it up. And so when your child is reacting, we want to, yell back, right? That doesn't work. And So honestly, like even it was earlier today, he comes up, he's like, Mom, will you tickle my back?
Mhm.
So it happens not by one big thing that you do, but it's by those little things that you just shift the needle, and it's consistency over and over again. And it's not going to be those things that everybody outside the home is going to see. The social media posts, any of that. It's the day in, day out things. And so when we were driving, I'd put my arm over and I'd scratch his head. High five. He played soccer, right? And then again, he goes into football, right? And that is the biggest thing. We did get, him obviously the professional help, but my husband and I were both on the same team.
Mhm.
And that was when it opened our eyes to go, we need to change the way in which we are parenting. And so learning from, and it wasn't that we made any mistakes, right? Like I knew there were things going on developmentally wise. My degree is in psychology.
Mm.
Even though I taught English, I had a dual major,
Yeah.
and I did some of my papers on my child.
Okay.
And my mom is a counselor, right? Like, so I was very aware.
Mhm.
And many times I don't think parents come as aware of knowing. They just think, oh, this is just how kids are, or this, or, they're doing these things. But the 5 love languages truly can change the entire direction of your child's life
Mm.
if you implement it consistently.
One thing I hear that's standing out to me that you didn't say, but just with all the way you're talking about it, is you just listened.
Yeah.
Listened was probably one of the biggest things that you just had to slow down and
Yeah.
just pay attention.
Yes. And listening. And that's one of the things, like, as I've gotten more into this work, that's the hardest thing, especially when they become teenagers.
Mhm.
Right? Because as the adults, we want to fix things. Oh, we've been through this. Well, times have changed.
Yeah.
So even if you've been through something similar, it is not the same
Mhm.
as what your child is going through. And so listening, and one of the tools, and I know we're kind of jumping around a little bit. We'll get back to wherever we're supposed to
We
go.
love it.
Right?
Yeah.
But is with working with my own kids, and as well as hundreds and even thousands of other kids, is, do you want me here to listen and respond, or just here to listen?
Mhm.
And there have been many conversations that I've had with my own kids. I guess I shouldn't say conversations, where I have not said a word
Mhm.
except tell me more.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, that's powerful. We had a discussion last week, and not just with teens, but with grown men,
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
of how much sometimes you just need to stand there and let them say what's in their head and then tell them, thank you for sharing.
Yep.
Mhm.
And it's so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Just that slowing down and listening is just a skill that unfortunately, so many of us are not very good at.
Well, and that's why this is important to do. And have these conversations about it and saying, here's what's worked for us in some of these situations. And this ties to the hero's journey. Because when we are the hero's journey, really, you're called on an adventure, something happens, you have a mentor who's there to guide you, but that mentor cannot do it for the hero.
Yeah.
Dumbledore could not do it for Harry Potter, right? They're there to instill that belief in that hero, in that person, that they already have everything within them. Sometimes they just need someone to say, I got you. I'm right here beside you as you figure it out yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Letting them know they have that support
Uh-huh.
when they need it. They're ready
Yeah.
for it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that.
Mhm.
So as you were working with this with your son
Mhm.
and going through these things, what inspired the book? The first book?
Okay. So we'll have to go through a few things there. So that was probably about 2012. Yep, 2012, 2013 during this time.
Okay.
I ended up going back to the classroom in 2014. And then in 2016, my sister-in-law actually took her life. And she was one of my best friends. Uh, she was favorite Aunt Amy. We joked that we had joint custody of the kids because they'd go on trips with us, mine would go with them. And again, we knew she was struggling, she was getting the help. Um, but when you lose someone that close to you, again, it changes the entire direction of your life. And so when this happens twice, right? Like we have the happy story with my son,
Mhm.
but my sister-in-law, like that wasn't the case. But I also have to show gratitude because if we hadn't had lost Amy, I look at all the entire direction of my life would have changed. And so in 2016, when I was in the classroom, that was the first time that I said, do you know what? I'm going to change how I approach these kids and how I approach Romeo and Juliet and suicide prevention. In my years prior to teaching, I never once mentioned suicide.
Yeah.
In that, 2 teens took their lives. 6 people died in a week because of family problems, of not telling the truth because they didn't think they could be believed,
Yeah.
right? Or people wouldn't understand.
People wouldn't listen.
Yeah. And so I changed all of that. I got involved in Hope Squads in the schools. And my last 6 years of teaching, I made sure that my students knew they mattered above any academic success, any behaviors. And the amazing thing is that my students academically scored the highest on end of levels for my last 6 years of teaching in a row.
Wow.
And so there is a direct correlation between taking care of the mental health needs of kids
Mhm.
and their success.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it too, everybody has that favorite teacher. You
Mhm.
look back and you have that favorite teacher. And why was it your favorite teacher? And most of the time was because they were actually invested in you, or they actually were interested in you, not just your education. They actually took the time to get to know you, ask you questions about yourself, your life, things like that. I look back on all of my favorite teachers, and that's exactly what it was, is that they took the time to invest more interest into my actual life versus just my education.
Yeah, the outcomes, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So during that time, then how did the book, we'll go back to that question now of where did that first idea of, I need to share this in a story come
Mhm.
from?
So your sister passed.
Yep, my sister passed. I got involved in suicide prevention in the schools. Did that at my last school. I was there 3 years. I had it as a class.
Oh, wow.
And so I was with these kids a lot. And I knew it was going to be my last year teaching because I told you at the beginning that my dad passed.
Mhm.
And it was another traumatic event that happened. My dad actually passed away in my arms and in my classroom while giving a presentation to my students. And so it was on Veterans Day. He's a veteran, and here we go into the 4th of July and gratitude for America and the sacrifice of so many.
Mhm.
And my dad was my hero. My dad was actually an English teacher as well, became an administrator. That was going to be my path.
Yeah.
That was actually what was going to happen until that moment.
Okay.
And so I was going to be a principal at a school. And after that happened, I remember hearing my dad so clearly say, Elisha, you do not need to do this the way that I've done this. It's time to spread your wings and fly. And I had already been working on different things. And so this book with the red sneakers on it was actually written 2 months after my dad passed. And so it has a quote. It has some sayings that I would it's basically how I taught my classroom.
Yeah.
It's 52 tips to teach today's teens. A quote resonates with every single person on a different level based on where they're at in their life.
Mhm.
Someone can pull something from a quote and it represents a story in their life. And then the pattern of that book is based on, again, off of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. And I've broken it down into three stages,
Mhm.
right? That call to the adventure, the trials and tribulations, and then the rising above adversity. So as you go through and look at the book a little bit more, you're going to go, oh, this is that call to adventure. Oh, this is where the trials are. And here's the tips and tools for you as adults or as children, to be able to look at and go, okay, I can use this in my life and change the direction. And so I wanted teens to have a toolbook, a guide,
Okay.
something where they could just open it up and go, okay, and turn to a page, because most teens are not avid readers.
Mhm.
They
Especially now.
right? They're not opening up a novel, a 300-page novel.
Mhm.
But they could open up this book to any page and find something in it on any of the pages that could help them in their life today.
And so does it go in order through this book, or is it just like you said, they can go and pick any page, any day, whatever really the universe is kind of pulling towards them is really how the book's designed?
Well, how I originally designed it was the pattern of it. But what I found, and the feedback is it really doesn't matter. It depends on where they're at in their life, or, where the adult is at in life, as to what stage of the journey it's going to help them on.
So this might be a hard question to answer. I'm hoping it's a hard question to answer.
Let's see.
But since you wrote the book,
hmm
do you have one or two really standout stories of somebody coming to you and telling you how it has changed them or helped their kid since they started really reading it?
Yeah. I think the one that I hear the most, and I think it's pretty cool, because this one has come from many of our ambassadors, who are teens who join the Hope Hero program and do training, as well as my daughter is now 15, she'll be 16. So she's seen me doing all of this. And her saying to me that she needs to make, well, actually, I have two different stories that are like happening in my head. And so when we're live, I'm all, okay,
Yeah.
what is happening right now? So the one with her is, we're talking about these goals and nutrition and different things with it. And it's talking about setting the habits that you're going to create, right? And it's not that you're going to do everything at once, but it's the little by little. And if you don't write it down, it's just a wish.
Mhm.
And so she's been really talking. We've started going to the gym, writing out our schedule, the nutrition, the meal prepping, all of the things, because she is a competitive tumbler.
Mhm.
And so her goal is to go to nationals next year. And so to get her prepared for that, we're a year in advance. And I've always been like, it's got to be her choice.
Yeah.
She has to decide. And so she's decided with it and the changes that have been made. And the other is actually with my boy, who will be 19 in next week.
Mhm.
And he struggled in school as well. And a lot of times I don't share all the stories about all my kids, right? But I think it is important to know that just because I do this doesn't mean that I don't have the same life experience and struggles within our family,
Mhm.
but I'm sharing that these work.
Yeah.
Right? They work. And my 19-year-old, he was actually there when my dad passed. And so he had a lot of trauma happen to him, and then made some poor decisions after that, trying to cope and all of that. And he's now at a tech college,
Mm.
and he's getting his certification in mechanics. And he's like, but mom, I had to choose that. Surround yourself with people who help you to become the best versions of yourself. And I have this analogy, and it's in the book, that it's okay to choose a different playground,
Mhm.
right? That analogy of when we're kids, if someone's pushing you on the playground, you're going to go over and you're going to go on the swing rather than the slide, right? So they're not pushing you. Well, we get to choose that in life
Right.
as teens and as adults. I mean, I've had to do that this last year.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, but it's necessary because you get to be the hero in your own life. And sometimes you may make your challenges harder by not choosing some of those.
Different path.
Yes.
Well, like you started out when we started, you're like, sometimes you have to re-go through those challenges multiple times until you learn the lesson that needs to be learned.
Yeah.
So, and unfortunately, some of us have to do that often
Yeah.
and more often than not. But,
Yep.
but that's the pattern of life is we are here to learn so many different things. There is some type of plan laid out, and we just have to continue to learn these lessons. And until we get it, until we pound our head against the wall enough times, well, we're going to relearn them.
We're going to get more opportunities to figure out what we needed to know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
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 So where does the Converse
It
come from?
really, it happened with the book.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, but I think it, I think there's predestined things.
Huh.
Right. And what's really cool about the Converse, it started with the book.
Mhm.
So before you
And-
go any farther, just so everybody knows, if you're just listening, on the cover of the book, there is a set of red with white sole Converse high tops. She is also wearing a pair to match. So just so everybody gets the context there.
Kind of like your logo.
It is our logo for the Hope Hero. It has a pair of Converse. Well, technically they're not, but then it has, a hero cape off of the back of it.
Yeah.
And so anytime that I, go somewhere and speak and present or our team, this is
That's your logo.
Yes.
That you're representing.
uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know it would have this much meaning with it when I wrote this book.
Okay.
But if we look at just red,
Mhm.
okay, red is courage, it's power, it's love, it's hope. Did I say courage? I don't know if I did. But and it also, if you're familiar with chakras, red is the root chakra.
Mhm.
These are on our feet. So it has evolved into, with every step you take, you are capable of becoming the hero of your own story.
I love that.
So that is what they represent and what they come to mean. So when I put these on, I am showing and I am being that hero in my own story, as well as letting others know that it's possible for them to do it as well. And if you have a misstep, cool, that's part of it.
Mhm.
You start again, you take one more step,
Yeah.
and you keep going every single step of your journey.
And I have to ask because I'm this way. There's certain things that I can wear, very symbolic, and you just feel more alive, more powerful, more energized. If you're struggling, do some days you just need to put the shoes on?
Yeah, there are times that I put them on, and I've heard many people, who we do a red sneaker gala. Like there's lots of people wearing these,
Mhm.
and when they will let me know, I was having a rough day, and I put my shoes on, and it helped me.
Yeah.
It helped me. And anytime, you see them now, you guys, you're going to go, okay,
Yeah.
I've got this. And I pass out little keychains. And I have one for you guys, but those kids are putting them on backpacks with their keys. The adults are, and it's really cool to see the movement of hope spreading.
Mhm.
I really like that. Yeah. I would have never guessed. I wouldn't have ever thought that that's why the shoes were on there. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that. I mean, that in itself is powerful. So, and that's just the first book.
Yeah.
Since then, you've released now 2 more.
I have 2 more, that have been released.
So let's talk a
And-
little bit about those. The success of the first book was, I'm assuming, just overwhelmingly great. And it was just took off and everybody received it very well. And so
Yeah.
what inspired the next 2?
Yeah, so with the first one, I mean, it really it became a bestseller, an international bestseller, which I was not expecting, but it was absolutely amazing. And then and at that time, I was still teaching,
Mhm.
and I had no intentions of starting a nonprofit. I thought I was going to do a coaching program, and which in essence, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But in the nonprofit world of it. And if the mission is to empower youth to become their own heroes and prevent teen suicide, don't we need to start before they're teens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I adapted the first one into becoming superheroes, and it has animals on it and little hero capes. And I adapted the hero's journey a little bit more into language that a 5-year-old can understand,
Okay.
so that they're equipped with this and this resilience, because really I'm teaching resilience.
Yeah.
Right. And resilience is your ability to bounce forward through adversity, not to bounce back, because
Mhm.
we're different versions of ourselves every time we face a challenge.
Yeah.
Right. So teaching them those skills from the get-go.
Yeah.
Right. And so I have that one. And then I always have a lot of people ask, well, can you simplify the hero's journey so I understand what it means? And you guys have that book. And you were saying before, that it's been really helpful
Mhm.
to understand that. Because in life, everyone says, oh, it's about the journey. But most people do not realize that there is a pattern to the journey.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're really helping teach these skills that are involved in the pattern to even a younger generation with the second book then.
Yeah.
How's it been received with the parents and the younger, the what do you say, 5 to 9
Yeah.
range,
I
baby?
think even, from a baby, right? Because if you are reading a book to your child, let's teach them some of these tools that they're going to need. I have a friend who is like my daughter, I think she's like 5 now. Um, she wants it read to her every single night
Oh.
and loves the hero stuff, and pretends that we're a hero, because doesn't everybody want to be a hero, right? Like we resonate with that. And there's actually a lot of psychology and science, and American Psychology Association actually just came out 2023. So just recently, that when you view yourself as the hero of your own story, you have more resilience in life, you have more meaning, you have less anxiety, less depression, and a more fulfilled life.
Mhm.
And so it's teaching these things, and again, in that simplified way
Yeah.
where they understand. So, I mean, I think it's gone pretty well. Do I want it out more? Obviously, like
Right.
to help the kids and to help the parents have some more tools that I wish I would have had while they were littles.
Yeah. So I saw your presentation at the I Love You Sis and what is it, monthly meeting that we
Mhm.
do. And it hit me so strongly because I have 2 boys. And just just like kids, these days and even with myself, self-esteem issues and things like that. And I've already found so many helpful tips and ways to talk to my kids just from your book and ways to encourage them. And it really just has been so helpful even as a parent with kids.
Well, thank you for that. Like, and that's what it's for, right? Because again, we're talking about the connection with you and your child and the communication,
Mhm.
right? It's to enhance that communication for you and your child, because every dynamic and family is a little bit different. And so finding something that's not like, okay, you have to follow XYZ and do this or otherwise it won't work. It's like, no, these are things that are adaptable and interchangeable in whatever situation you're in life,
Yeah. Mm.
to hopefully help it be better for your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. So I have to, if you had to pick one or two of the parts of one of either of the books that really resonate with you always? That's maybe one of your favorite parts. Is there one or two parts that really stand out for you personally?
Well, I mean, we did talk about the one. I kind of want to just open up a page and just let it go there.
Let's
Is that
do it.
okay?
let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
Let's grab it. Okay, let's grab it. And I'm just
give us
going
a sample.
I'm just going to open it up and then we'll go from there because it's going to
Probably every single one of those.
yeah, so I'm not
Something
even
for you.
looking. All right, here we go. Okay, this is this I mean, this is what we all do. So it says bravery is doing something even when you know you may fail. And the quote says, being brave means knowing that when you fail, you don't fail forever. And that's Lana Del Rey.
Hmm.
And underneath it says, bravery looks different for every hero. Know that you will be afraid at times. Learn the lesson from your experience. Find something new about yourself. There is no such thing as real failure. Failing forward is true bravery. Keep being brave while writing your hero's story.
Wow.
Like every single page in that book just gave me goosebumps as I was reading through it.
Well, and I think I see this so many times that people are afraid to do something because they think they're going to fail. They think they have to be perfect right now, the first time they try something. And we need to let ourselves know and let our kids know that you're not supposed to be good the first time you try something.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the quotes I've actually been saying in some of the presentations I've been giving is that I believe the road to success is paved with the bricks of failure,
Mm-hmm.
those lessons that you learned along the way. Because how are we supposed to know something if we've never done that before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know it unless you've experienced it.
Yeah.
You need to go through that trial to be able to understand it
Yeah.
and to be able to learn the lesson and gain the knowledge from that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, yeah, like I feel that right now with every time I do something new.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time. And I think you should be wanting to fail. And it's John Maxwell, fail often, fail quickly, but always fail forward.
Yep.
Right? So like get the messy out of the way and then figure out what pieces you need to put into the puzzle so that next time it's a little easier. Or next time, if we learn the lesson, we can just take the other path.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's one that sticks out in my head when I was going. It's very similar to that. If you're going down a rocky path and you can see that others have traveled it,
Mhm.
you have a choice.
Yeah.
Either follow in the path they have carved out already or carve your own path, but learn the lessons from the ones in front of you as well as yourself when you're going down the road.
Yeah.
So it just really kind of resonates with that as, you know, you have a choice.
Mhm.
We always have that choice in front of us to take the hardest route possible or to take the easier route or to take the easiest route. But it is our choice.
Yeah.
And we are our own hero. And it is, what do we need to learn
Mm-hmm.
and deciding how we want to learn it.
Yeah.
And sometimes we make the decision very unconscious. we just roll with it. But
Mhm.
we need to experience and enjoy that failure.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy what you can learn from it, because none of us would be the people we are today without the failures that have created us to this point.
Well, and that's what refines you. Like that's the whole hero's journey. And in the pattern of it, there's this cave of darkness, right? And if you think about any movie, there's times when that hero fails, wants to quit, or nearly dies, right? But they find their way through it. And on the other side of it is the realization that they had it within them the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you rise above it,
Yeah.
right? It is through those failures. And so thinking that avoiding failures is going to make life easier is actually going to probably cause more stumbles, right? Instead of looking at those failures as setups for your future success.
Success like that.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about your ambassador program
hmm
that you've got going.
Yeah. So we have a teen and I would say young adult ambassador program. And we have these kids 13 and older and into mid 20s, and then we have obviously adults who are going to be helping with the program and the pattern that happens with that. So these kids do an application. It's online. It's on our website. There is the word for it, our website. And so they have online trainings where I go over the hero's journey with everything that we've kind of talked about, but they have the setup for it. They know the things. They can go in to, we've gone into different schools. We've taught in classes. We've done assemblies. I've had kids who put on the assemblies and invite me to come and speak, depending on, whatever leadership you want. We can provide some of that, but each of our ambassadors becomes nationally certified in QPR, suicide prevention, and do that through that national program.
Mhm.
And that's a year-long certification. They get the Hero's Journey curriculum and Hero's Compass curriculum that I've created. And we do leadership trainings. They do service projects. They do different booths and events that you've seen some of the kids at. And they are the voice. Like, if we are going to change how we view and how we talk about teen suicide, don't we need to hear from the voices of the kids who
Absolutely.
have been through it? And so I offer a platform for them to share their stories,
Mhm.
for them to be on mental health panels. They've been on live TV, they've been at the state capitol. And it's more than an ambassador program. I feel like it's a leadership program.
Yeah.
Like, what they are learning through this, no matter how long they stay part of it, it is preparing them with essential skills for life that are going to be with them forever.
Absolutely.
And so we have, since, let's see, we're 3 years old. We implemented the ambassador program about 2 years ago. So we have nationally certified over 60 in
So it is national, not just here in the state.
yes.
So, okay.
So but the majority, we only have a few here and there. And obviously we want to grow the program, but we need more leadership. We need more adult leadership who can be in charge of bringing those youth together in the communities. And right now we are focused on building Utah. But we have kids. Logan to Lehigh is really where all of us are.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so inspirational. And what an amazing program to be a part of. Like, with the allowing the kids to teach.
Mhm.
That's so instrumental for their growth and for their own leadership.
Mhm.
So,
I remember the event that we'd met you guys at. I think it was the car show, but you did have a couple of the ambassadors there that were running your booth, and I remember, and I don't remember if it was you or another lady that was there, but you're like, "This is what you're supposed to do. This is your show. You get to talk to them, tell them what we're about." And I remember that encouragement coming from behind them, and the kid was young. I mean, 13, 14, really really young, but kind of got that encouragement and they got excited and they got to tell us about it. I remember, and it was amazing
Yeah.
that they had that opportunity and that platform to talk about it, but the opportunity as well.
the opportunity to build their confidence.
Yeah. Well, and that's how do you build confidence? By doing again and again. And it's the older ambassadors will teach the younger ones.
Mhm.
Right. And so going and being able to talk about that, like, that's life changing for these kids.
Yeah.
It really is. And they just want someone to believe in them that they can do it.
Mhm.
And with the ambassadors, like, we have a lot of kids want to join it because they've either struggled themselves, they've lost a friend to suicide or a family member, or they've seen the struggle happening in their schools, in their homes, wherever it is, where they want to be a part of the change.
Yeah.
And so really there's not a certain type who joins the program. I mean, I wrote a letter of recommendation for one of our ambassadors who was on the wait list for Harvard, to teens who have been in treatment centers, right? And these kids gather together and help each other.
Yeah.
Right? It's a place of belonging, and that's what I want to create. That you belong here. We're going to connect. You're going to learn that hero's compass, right? The communication, building your confidence and having the courage. It takes a lot of courage for a teen to talk to an adult stranger.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Somebody just walks up.
Yeah.
So, well, as far as Hope Hero itself, we have the ambassador program,
Mhm.
you have the educational books, you do events, speaking events, different things like that. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you guys are involved in or putting out there?
So I have written curriculum K through 12th grade. Um, we are working on figuring out where that's going to go, whether it's into the schools. It's been a harder process than you would think. Um, but into treatment centers, into therapist offices. There's some pilots that we're going to be doing with some programs that we have, but we are really working on figuring out how we can get this into the hands of the people who can teach it to kids.
Yeah.
And so we're navigating all of that. I do a lot of work with we keep getting pulled back to veterans
Mhm.
and the military families and communities. So there's some coalitions and teams that I'm on with that while we're working on education and helping the military families. And like I had said, my dad is a Vietnam veteran, and my work is actually dedicated to my dad.
Mhm.
And we have a few of our board members who are veterans. And so we've got that in the works. I am also doing quite a bit of work with Davis Health Department, and a few things there. We have, gosh, what else? So where you asked about the national, I have actually been in a partnership with Gab Wireless.
Oh.
So it has been the last year and a half. It's almost 2 years because we piloted for about 6 months, but they have a channel, the Mini Motivation channel. And so each week, these teens and youth are getting a message of hope and inspiration. And it actually comes from my book and from me.
That's amazing.
And so each week, and that is reaching about 80,000 kids across the country right now.
And so it's just like a text message or a video message, or what is it?
It is a channel that they have.
Okay.
And Gab's mission is to have safe technology for kids,
Mhm.
right? And so providing these mini motivation messages is helping these kids to believe in themselves with it. So we've got, we have that. We have some other things in the works. We have our Red Sneaker Gala coming in October.
Okay.
So we will be announcing all of that here soon and putting out information on all of that. And there's just, there's a lot that is happening. I have a lot of requests to be teaching the parenting classes. And like from this, it's very needed. But like we said, we're new.
Yeah.
Right. And we restructured our entire board this year.
Mhm.
So it's been a rebuilding year and just really getting the structure and the systems in place for the growth of where we know this can be, and where others just like you're like, no, I can see where this is going. And so we're gearing up for some pretty amazing growth and opportunities for people to get involved. So I know some parenting and people keep saying, when are you going to help the adults? So it's coming. It is coming.
I love it.
We are just making sure we can do it in a way that's sustainable and that is going to be the most beneficial for everyone.
It's amazing.
That's really great. And that's exciting because that was one of my questions is what can we do for some of the parents? What can we do for some of the adults that are just like, we need help?
Yeah.
And it sounds like you're already ahead of that and working on that curriculum and program right now. So
We're working on it. It takes a lot. I wish it could be overnight, but I just know that realistically, for something to make that change, it's got to be something consistent and it's got to be something that people can trust that is going to be there.
Yeah.
And so we're taking our time to build those things that can help people long term.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of brings up one of our final questions I have that's in my head is our demographic is 30 to 55. That is our audience, but 80% of it.
Mhm.
And so we have a lot of parents.
Mhm.
We have a lot of males. We actually have a very high male listening audience. And so as we're kind of wrapping up, now that you kind of know who's listening,
Yeah.
what couple pieces of advice could you give to them other than just pick the book up and read it and start with something simple? But what else would you give to them, to those who are listening right now?
Yeah, and to the men, and you were at the one where I had my husband with me and we talked about behind his words
Mhm.
was our messaging. And I know that your demographic listening right now are the highest rates of suicide. And for the men listening, you're enough. You are enough. There's not this perfect house and white picket fence and ideal of what it's supposed to look like.
Mhm.
It's what it is. And you're in this stage of your journey right now because that's where you're supposed to be. And so learning those things and keep going with every step. Keep going. Asking for help is a sign of bravery and courage.
Not a burden.
It's not. People love you and they want you around. So if you are struggling, reach out for help. There are people here listening, and we talked about, I love you, sis. Well, I love you, bro.
Yeah.
Joe is one of my best friends. Shout out to him and all the work he is doing here. Join one of the men's support groups that are across the state and growing. Reach out to a friend. And if you are the friend who maybe needs to reach out to your friend who's struggling, do that. If someone's name came to you while listening to this, that is your sign and your message that that person needs you. They don't need you to solve anything for them. They need you to be there to listen
Mhm.
and to see them. So I think that's my message with it. Yes, get that for your kids, but you got to take care of you before you can take care of the other people in your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very, very well put. Thank you.
Amazing.
Welcome.
Best question of the day.
Yeah.
You're already a superhero,
Well, you are as well.
but if you had a superhero power, what would it be?
I think I'm going to go with I have grace tattooed right here on my arm.
Mhm.
I think that is the biggest thing that if I had a superpower to give myself, it because I have a lot of grace for everyone else. But it's having more grace for myself with it and that's a message I guess for others too, right? But having grace that it's okay, right? Just like the message I just shared.
Right.
I can say that for other people, but many times the messages I share are truly the messages I need to receive as well,
Mhm.
right? So the superpower of grace for myself.
I love that.
Yeah, that's great. I
Probably one of the
love that.
best answers we've heard.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
So, well, our final thing we do on every one of our episodes is we turn the tables and we give the time to you for a few minutes and see if there's any questions that have come up for you that you would like to ask either of us or about anything that we've discussed here. We'll give you a few minutes to ask those questions as we wrap up.
Okay, well, Scott, I want to come to you because we did just end with, some men and mental health, and you talked about your addictions. And I've dealt a lot with that with family members and my nephew, my brother, different things. But how long have you been sober? Maybe share a little bit of where you're at and maybe some things that helped you.
Well, I guess the biggest thing that helped me, we'll start there, was learning to ask for help. Sometimes it's the absolutely hardest thing that we can do, but once you do it, it's the easiest thing. And so asking for help is definitely up there for me. Um, I've bounced back and forth a little bit. It's been a little bit of a rocky road, but I mean, I survived my suicide attempt in March of 24, and that was due to substance abuse and everything that led up all towards that. I've had a couple rocky since then, and I really haven't kept track of that last day because I just didn't want to. Because I keep track of, guess what? I was given a second chance in March, and that's what I'm fighting for. And so I feel like I've been on that recovery road probably for 18 months. I would say a good 18 months now,
Yeah.
and it has been just fantastic.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Ed Milet?
I'm not.
Okay, so his dad was an addict, and he shares this story, an alcoholic. I should say, an alcoholic, and
Tomato, tomato.
yeah, and he asked, his dad, like, well, how long are you going to be, sober? And he goes, I can't tell you that, but I can tell you one more day.
Yeah.
Today is the day that I will be sober.
Yeah.
And it's really because you can't promise what's not right in front of you,
Mhm.
right? And so just going, do you know what? Today I'm going to make it. And with my nephew, who we're coming up on, 2 years since he attempted 6 times, and then I saved his life, and he is clean. And but our motto is pillow to pillow.
Yep.
It's pillow to pillow,
Mhm.
and asking for that help.
Yep.
Right.
Because you know what? You don't know where the help is, and it doesn't have to come from a person.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to ask.
Yeah.
And it will be there. So
Yeah.
Ask us, God, universe, and spirit.
Yep.
It'll come to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and then Hillary, what has been along this journey, like what's been the biggest thing that you've learned? You're raising kids during this process and all of the things. So what's your, I guess, advice to either kids maybe having a dad who's going through this, or family, or to a parent, whichever way you want to go?
To a parent, I would say that your kids are not dumb and they know what's going on. As much as you want to protect them from it, they know something's up, they know something's off, and they know that something's going on. And oftentimes they end up internalizing it. And so I would suggest making sure that your kids, that you approach it cautiously, but you don't completely keep them in the dark, because they're smarter than you think they are.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing that I've learned through this whole journey, number one, is gratitude. And I knew gratitude before, but the gratitude that I have today is 10 times more than it was yesterday, and 10 times more than it was the day before. And it just continues to grow every day. And like you have grace on your arm, I have gratitude.
Mm.
So, because again, it's that daily reminder that I'm alive, for one, being a recovering addict as well. And my life is completely different today than it was. I mean, my life is completely different today than it was a year ago, but compared to 20 years ago, it's no life I ever could have dreamed of for myself. Yeah. So I love the hero's journey. I connect with it personally. And I recommend to every single person out there, they can get your books on Amazon, correct? Yeah.
They're
Go
all-
on Amazon, get The Hero's Journey. That one, I mean, they're all so good, but The Hero's Journey was probably my most favorite. If you're not familiar with it, it just resonated so much with me and taught me so much about myself, but about what I can do to help others, as well as my kids, my husband. And just the work that you are doing is absolutely phenomenal and is so needed. And thank you so much for putting the effort in and the hard work, because I know it's not easy.
Well, thank you. And thank you both for being here and doing this. And that like full circled back to the gratitude at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and really, thank you again to everybody listening. Thank you for taking this hour out of your time, out of your busy, busy lives today to hang out with us and listen to this amazing story, learn more about Hope Hero and the hero's journey. How you do have a website. What is the website?
So the hopeherofoundation.org.
Okay.
Okay.
And all the information, the ambassador application, everything's on there.
Yes,
Okay.
everything is
Wonderful.
on there. Follow along on social media at the Hope Hero. That's on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn if you're a business person. But I do much better at keeping the socials updated than the website. So just know that.
Okay. But again, everybody, we end every one of these episodes, as Alicia said earlier, somebody listening, somebody's name popped up in your head. And I challenge you to take this episode as soon as we sign off here and send the link to that person. Send it over to them. Because one, if their name come up, there's a reason why. Especially if it came up during listening to this. So they need to hear the messages today. Two, we cannot continue to grow and provide all this information without you guys sharing it. And so that's what we ask you to do is think of that person today that needs to hear this message and share it with them. And it can be anybody. It can be a family member. It can be a coworker. It can be somebody you just met at the grocery store today, but somebody that you know needs to hear it. So please take this episode and share that with them. And guess what? We'll all be back next week and we're excited for what's coming. But until then, everybody, thank you again for tuning in. During this next week, keep your head up, keep that smile on your face, and don't forget that you're.
Such a big deal to us.
Thanks, everybody.